Hey guys, I want to welcome you this morning to another Breakfast with the Banner. We've got a special guest with us on this morning, this Friday morning. It's Friday.
It is Friday.
It's Friday.
Friday.
We got Miss Jennifer Choate with us this morning. And many of you know Jennifer. And Jennifer, of course, has got some big plans coming up. She is running for Magistrate District 3 of Caldwell County. So we're just going to catch up with Jennifer and let her, for you who don't know her, introduce herself to you and just catch up with her. Talk about what she's up to and her family and just all kinds of good stuff.
Well, I'm going to apologize. I'm kind of hoarse this morning. That just happened. So I'm just going to roll with it because when life happens, you don't just cancel things. You got to move on.
That's right.
So we're just going to do the best with what we got. But I've always lived in Caldwell County. My mother was from Crestville. My dad is from here. I'm a 2002 graduate. I married my high school sweetheart. Oh, who I love dearly. I'm married to Lee Choate. He's also been a lifetime Princeton resident. We've been married 20 years this year.
Wow.
I thought it was a good idea to get married at 18.
Well, it happens in some of those longest marriage,
There are times it's up and down.
Yeah.
But everything we're doing is got a little push to it. It makes you become a different person.
Yeah.
We've definitely literally grown up together.
Yeah.
Waited a really long time to have children.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know. We were busy doing things. Right now I couldn't tell you
young.
what those were.
Well, you're young. You were young then. Well, I'm not saying you're not young. You know what I mean.
I know. I'm with you.
Okay.
So I have a 3-year-old little boy. Those of you who know me know I used to do hair. I did hair here for a while. I did hair in Eddyville. My little boy came about 2 months early, so ended up quitting hair. So I work at a vet's office. If you don't know, I have 7. Yes, everybody heard me right. I have 7 large breed dogs that live with me and Lee and my little boy Benjamin.
They all house dogs?
They're all house dogs.
Ah.
I have 2 German Shepherds. I have a Husky. I have a Rottweiler mix. I have a Pit Bull mix. I have a Golden Retriever. And I have a Golden Retriever Lab puppy. Like when I said large, I legit meant large.
Yeah.
Large breed dogs. My kiddo loves them. He would love to have a cat. Yeah. Probably not right now.
Well, you come to our house. We were talking before. Come to our house. We'll give you one.
Yeah.
Happily.
I may just let him hang out.
Yeah.
With you
that'd
and
be
the
fine.
cat.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
And there's not really a lot. I mean, I work part-time with my little boy a lot. He's lots of fun. He's 3, fixing to be 3 on Monday.
Wow.
So we like to be outside. We like to be into everything. My husband's, we own a small business. So we own Choate Welding and Equipment Repair.
Okay.
Lee worked for Cook Farms for almost 19 years.
Really?
And then decided he wanted to be self-employed.
Yeah.
Which is everybody's dream.
Yeah.
Until you really do it.
Yeah.
And then you think, this is not what I thought it was.
Right, yeah.
There are lots to go with it, a lot of taxes,
Yeah.
A lot of regulation, got into a lot of things we didn't really know about.
Right.
He's been very successful. We've been very blessed. He gets lots of business.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's very different than what you think.
Yeah.
So about probably the last election, kind of felt like something came up in me that was like, maybe you should think about running for magistrate. And I mentioned it to Lee, and we would chit chat, and I would say things. And so I filed my paperwork in December. I went home and I'm like, hey, by the way, I went ahead and filed to run for magistrate. He said, well, good Lord, it's about time.
Yeah.
He said, you have talked and talked it to death. I don't know. It's always kind of weird. It's not anything I really thought like, hey, I can see myself as a magistrate.
Right.
Because I'm plenty extroverted, so I don't mind to help you out or chit chat with you or do something I can. But to actually know the ins and out of government, I never really thought that would be something I'm interested in. And I don't know that I'm really interested in it.
Right.
I'm interested in trying to figure out what we can do as a county to be better.
Right.
Things are hard. County residents are struggling.
Yeah.
We were struggling before the tornado. Right. I mean, we really were. And then that came, and that's devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, that's devastating to somebody who feels like they got it all together.
Yeah.
But if you're already kind of struggling, it's like, man. And for those that follow the news, the state economy's not good. The federal economy's not good. We're going to have to try to figure out a way to do some things, and look at what we're doing and see what we can do better.
Yeah, and that's one thing with Caldwell County. Of course, you've lived here your whole life. I have. And, with Caldwell, we've always had, a wonderful community.
Yes.
Something we talk about a lot. But our city government, we've always been blessed with a good city government. Whoever comes in, with new faces that come in, everyone works together really well together.
Yes.
And we may have new faces and we see the old faces, but we've always had a very good government here in Caldwell County. Of course, we're blessed with a wonderful mayor, and Choate does an excellent job.
Yes, and everybody who's in the current government, as far as county, Mr. Carlin does a great job.
Especially being thrown into the tornado. Of course, no one's ever prepared for that. Something we've talked about quite a bit, and to see how all of our magistrates have come together with Brent and with Jeff Sims and Jeff Boone and Elbert, and of course working with Judge Curling. Everybody, they've been thrown into this, and
and they really made some wise decisions and very spot on. It's very hard when you're thrown into a very immediate, I have to have a response.
Right.
They've maybe not always agreed, like I watched Mr. Boone's interview the other day, but they have decided that it's community first, and they've done the best they can to move forward. And I don't think there's anything really, I know some people sometimes, I would do so-and-so different. Right. I don't really have any of that. I don't
think anybody really knows until they get in that situation.
Like Mr. Boone said, the first year was a learning experience.
Right.
And I think you can say, hey, I want to do, and list it down, but if you have never done it, you don't really know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, I don't know if we can change anything. And maybe the things that, like Mr. Boone said, I didn't know till probably 3 years ago that 11 cents of every property tax dollar is all the county gets. And I thought, man, even if you look at $250,000 and 11 cents of that, that's not a whole lot of money.
That's not a whole lot of money. It's
and it's like running a small business. You think, oh, well, I was telling the other day, we were doing some figuring. I'm like, he charges $85 an hour. And you think, man, that's really getting it.
You look at the overhead.
By the time I do supplies and insurance and taxes and all that, we're lucky if we're clearing, $17-18.
Yeah.
So it's a thing, you don't know till you actually look at a budget and get into it. And I have a copy of the budget, and I've worked some numbers and looked at some things.
Yeah.
And you just gotta, and whether somebody votes for me or not, I guess my most important drive is to get out and vote.
Right.
Make yourself represented. Learn your candidates. I think you guys are going to do something with Mr. Rogers.
We are.
So I think they're going to do some candidate interviews. So watch it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Watch the interviews.
Yeah.
Get to know a person. And if you have questions, I think I'm going to try to, after you guys make this public, I'm going to put my contact information down there. If you have a question or you're like, I don't know you, but I have this thought or I have this question. Even if you're not anybody that's in a district that I may represent. Because I think all the magistrates now do an excellent job of that.
Oh, yeah, they do.
They cross districts, and if you have a question, I know Jeff Sims, for us, we had somebody dump a bunch of trash on the road. And so we kind of called Brooke Dixon from the sheriff's office at the time, and I'm like, I've got a name and an address. I don't mean, do I pick it up? I don't care to pick it up, but what do we need to do about that? Because that can be a problem in the county.
It can.
And Jeff Sims came out and helped, and he got the trash, and I was like, that's really cool. He's not my magistrate, but they all care enough about the county. If my magistrate was busy, he stepped in.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. That's part of the good community that we have.
Yeah.
And I watched the school board meeting the other night. We have a pretty good
I tell you what, that's something we have. Our school system, of course, I'm biased. I'm sure you're biased too, because we both graduated from here. And but we've always had an excellent school system here, and of course our superintendent, Mr. Roach,
they've been doing an excellent job.
He's top notch, and think the world of him. And but they're always willing to help and to answer questions, and it's what it's all about. It's all about transparency, and that's what we want.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose of these interviews. And we invite anyone that's running that wants to come on and share with us.
It'd be great if everybody got on. I mean, even if you just introduce yourself and say, hey, I'm really excited to try this,
Yeah.
or I really enjoy doing this.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't gotten out and knocked on very many doors yet.
You still got time.
I know, and time is a fleeting thing.
Yeah, it is.
For everything.
For everything.
But I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with knocking on doors.
Yeah.
I can see the positive of it.
Yeah.
But as a mama who
I
works
understand.
part-time with 7 dogs and a kid, somebody usually wants to knock on my door at the most inopportune time.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, I'm going to put some information down there just in case you're one of those people that's like, hey, I'm cool. You don't need to knock on my door.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Or if you're like, no, I really want you to knock on my door, I'll be like, okay, come,
Yeah.
I'll come and talk.
Right. Right.
Because if y'all can't tell from this interview, I'm Chatty Cathy over here, and I married an introvert who doesn't talk, so I like a person to talk to.
Well, you know, that's what we were talking before, and that's what it is with my wife and myself, Casey, that when, of course, we've been married 19 years, and between me and her, I'm the one who just likes to sit at home in the recliner,
Yes.
and Casey and my daughter Izzy, they're the extroverts. Well, I say that now. Izzy, she's a good mixture of Casey and myself, and she likes to, you know, do her thing, but then likes to her space too. But they like to go. I like to stay. Vacation to me is just sitting at home in the recliner, and you know, I'm good. But it's what I was telling before, you know, not to, when you come on here, I said it's going to be smooth. I said you'll go, and
and I'll go. I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
But I'm glad for the opportunity. Like I said, you know, regardless of the outcome, I'm glad to get out and meet people and to find out more about what really goes on. Because I don't think sometimes, like Jeff said, you know, like John Pettit has saved so much money with the sheriff's department. And I'm like, that's an awesome thing, but I kind of wish that was a little more public.
Yeah.
You know, because there would have been me going, hey, man, that's great.
Right.
Good job, John. Like, I'm proud to hear that.
Yeah.
You know, so just maybe a little more transparency and actually like, here's the budget. Here's where we were. Here's what we saved.
Right.
You know, because sometimes you look and think, the jail's getting $1 million. Like, when you're a person like me who doesn't run it, you're thinking, $1 million? Like, what am I doing for $1 million?
Right.
You'd be surprised the little things that add up here and there that equal that amount of money. Not that, you know, and it's awesome that Mr. Petty was able to go through and save the county some money, but I would like to let county residents know that, you know, the things that they're maybe not aware of. Not that you can change anything, just make things more available to them. Come on and do some interviews and say, hey, at the fiscal court, if you couldn't watch, we paid blah, 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 and we did yada, yada, yada.
Right.
Because there are some people that when they hear things, they're like, oh man, I didn't know that was happening.
Right.
You know, and I don't want, you know, I have that, what is it they call that? Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody to have the fear of missing out.
Right.
I want them to be as included as we can include them.
Right.
And I think most of our county is driven to be included. They want to help their neighbor.
I think you're right on that, because I think the tornado showed that.
Oh yeah.
With people coming out from all over. I mean, not just I mean, from outside, but from in our community, people you'd never know reaching out to help one another.
Yeah, and we went over. I went with Goodman Funeral Home, and we collected some donations with them. Ended up going to Calvary. I mean, and there were people that I knew, like Tad Ladd and some other people. But they were just, it was like a little beehive.
Yeah.
There were workers everywhere, all doing lined up, and they were getting it.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, what a cool thing to come out of something so tragic.
It was.
To see people that maybe you hadn't seen in a few years and think, oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. And then to be able to help your neighbors.
Oh yeah,
you know,
definitely. And that's what it's about. I mean, it's about helping. And I think with running for something such, you know, running for district magistrate, or you know, running for mayor or judge executive or even city council, no matter what it is you're running for, you've got to have that drive in you to want to help and to make a difference. And you know, we're all going to have our own opinions on how things need to be ran.
Oh, sure.
Sure, our opinions a lot of times aren't going to be the same. No. But that's what it's about. It's the differences of opinions coming together to make something that's workable, to make things better.
Right. Well, and it's just, government's kind of like a really big marriage. But instead of just 2 people, there are lots of people.
There's lots of people. It's a big family.
It's a big family. You know, I've been married to, like I said, almost 20 years. And I love my spouse, but sometimes I don't like him. Right. Especially because he's very sensical, very logical. And sometimes I'm like, this is a really good idea. We should do this. And he's like, it is. However, you know, and we have to have that conversation. And I think it's good not to get mad at that. Right. You know, and that's the thing is if you work a marriage or a community correctly, you can take some criticism and think, you know, he's not, I hate to say this, but he ain't wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and grow from that. You become
Right.
different and you become better. You know, I'd like to think that I'm a better person than I was 20 years
Right.
ago. Some due to my own experience, but most due to the person I share my life with.
Right. Right.
You know, he's made me a better person and look at things definitely from a different perspective. Because I'm an on 10. He used to say the switch for me was broke. It just went to on and it never went
It's
back
either
off.
10 or 0.
That's right. I don't have and he rides the middle. He's like a 4
That's
or a
where
5.
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and I'm real excited.
Right.
That's like we come in. He's joined the fire department here. I think it was last August. He was like, I really think about joining the fire department, and we had a conversation. I'm like, you know, my husband is very sweet for me. I don't know if everybody sees him that way,
Right.
but I thought I don't know that I want you to do that. You know, I thought I have a little kid,
Right.
and things are tragic, and you see some things, and we talked about it, and I prayed about it, and I told him, I said, you know what? If it's what you feel led to do, then we're behind it.
Right.
We'll just do. And he really enjoys it.
Well, good.
You know, and I'm happy to say he's contributing to our community, and that's what I said. I said, why would you want to be on the fire department? Like,
Right.
what's the draw?
Right.
Because I think sometimes you can do things because you think this will be exciting,
Right.
or it's a man thing to do,
Right,
or
right.
I'll be the woman on the top, you
Yeah.
know. I said, what makes you want to join the fire department? And he said, I just feel like I have a desire to serve my community.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, that's the same reason I feel like I should run for magistrate.
Yeah.
You know, you just feel like you've been here a long time, and the community's given us so much. You know, we have a small farm and a small business.
Right.
I'm able to have some property and 7 dogs.
Yeah.
And my neighbors are very lovely because sometimes they don't always stay in my yard.
Right.
And of course, the county doesn't have leash laws, but somebody usually just calls and says, hey, are you missing somebody? I'm like, I'll be right there.
Yeah.
So that happens to me occasionally. But the county's given us so much,
Yeah.
you know, and even the city of Princeton. You know, I do most of my shopping here.
Yeah.
You know, Molly at the Tin Roof and Miss Brooke does all of my stuff if I have somebody to go maybe to the funeral home.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just lots of businesses and people who make our community great.
Yeah, it is. You know, that's what, of course, we mention this a lot, you know, locals supporting locals. And it's not just with business, it's just the community coming together and helping one another. And, you know, I think it takes, you know, with running in politics, or just like with your husband being in the fire department, it takes special kind of people to do those kind of things. And, you know, not everyone is called to run for politics or office, or to be in the fire department, or to be a nurse or a doctor or a teacher.
Anything. Yeah.
It would take special kind of people to do that and to make everything work and come together.
And that's kind of where you got to be your own person, and you got to pray about things and be led and be like, is this, you know, am I really hearing this right? Is this what you want me to do? And knowing who you are and being true to yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I'm not going to join the fire department.
Right.
That's probably not for me. I don't hear
Right.
the Lord telling me that.
Right.
It's the same way about being a teacher or anything else, you know. I think we have some great teachers. My kiddo's not old enough for school yet, but, you know, I like to talk to teachers, and you get out like Larley White.
Yeah.
She's actually Kindley through her husband. Great girl. I try to keep up, you know, politics or teacher stuff with
Right,
her.
right.
And we've talked some politics as far as what relates to the school, because you don't really
Right.
think those two things kind of join.
Yeah, but they do.
But they really do. A lot of things like that are very coordinated. You know,
Yeah.
business and politics are very correlated. There's a lot of things that, as far as your vote, you know, people will be like, well, I don't care what they do because I just want to be by myself and do my thing. But everything we vote on or everything we pass in some way down the line will affect you.
It will.
Or it will affect your children.
Right.
Or, you know, the debt we have, or how we're paying our bills, or how we're budgeting. All just like you make those decisions in your family that are very effectual, the government works the same way.
It does.
So I want to be sure that we're doing the best we can for
Right.
everybody that we can. And like you said, you're never going to make everybody happy.
No.
There's sometimes that, even at my house, and I'm one of the people that pays the bills, I'm
Right.
not always happy with how we're doing things.
Right.
But sometimes we got to tighten down. I like MJs.
Right.
But there's some months in the budget I'm like, we just can't be doing MJs.
Right.
So I'm like, hey, for my birthday, y'all could just slip me like an MJ card, you know?
Right.
You try to do it where you can.
Right.
But you know, we all have things that we have to do in order to grow, because what you do today is going to affect your tomorrow.
Right. Right.
You know, so, you know, saving some dollars here and there and maybe doing some things that's not super comfortable.
Sometimes you have to do without, you know, the
Right.
things that you like, and you know, that's you know, sometimes we're afforded those luxuries, and sometimes we have to cut back on a month or whatever, and then we can.
Yeah, and nothing's always, nothing's permanent.
Right.
Just because you say, hey, this budget month, we can't do that. We have been, but we just don't. And then next month we revisit.
Right.
I think sometimes people hear it when you say, no, I can't fund that, especially with schools.
Right.
They get all upset and they get and I get it. Like, you want your child to have the best education and you want them to have the best ability. But there's sometimes we just don't have the money.
Right.
And it's hard. I mean, it's just like, my kiddo's birthday is Monday.
Yeah.
He would love to have a dozer that's 90 feet tall, works on remote, and he would like all these things. And sometimes you think, I get it. And as a parent, who doesn't say, I want to get him that?
Exactly.
But you have to be realistic with him and go, hey, friend, not today.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times a day I say that.
Not
today.
Well, that's the way it was with me growing up. And, of course, I know times were a whole lot different back then. But when it came to gifts or toys and stuff, there was Christmas and birthdays.
Yeah.
Nothing in between, and we made last what was
given to us.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same way with clothes, and whether it was hand-me-downs, we felt like we were something special when we got new clothes,
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. To me, I don't
It
know,
is.
but
I agree. That's like back on the rack that
Right.
Stephanie, Miss Stephanie was doing. I think she's turned that over now to. Can't think of her name. She's turned it over to somebody, but they're still doing it. But they have some really nice things, and I've bought a lot. People clean out their closets, and they're like, hey, and if you're like me, like, I look really nice today.
Right.
But I'm a mom, and I usually have my hair up, and I usually wear a t-shirt. So it's nice to have those things in our community, especially when we talk about, needing a budget. But if somebody else was nice enough to give their stuff away, and the prices up there are really nice.
Right.
But I'm the same way as far as birthday.
But it is the times that we're living in. You have to budget anymore, and that goes with anybody, because it doesn't matter what pay grade you may be in. We've all been affected by something in the economy here lately, and
Absolutely.
you've got to watch what you spend. I mean, it's just like with the county government. I mean, they have to watch what they spend, because with the prices of everything going up, you've got to see where this goes here, this goes here, this goes here.
Yeah.
To save money is where we
got
to be a penny pincher.
Yeah. Like Jeff said, we do a lot of fun. We get a lot of funding. And those are things we really got to watch, because as things deteriorate, maybe with the state budget, they may be like, hey, it's really nice we can fund your roads, but we may not come to a point we can't do that anymore. So we got to that's the future thing. We got to look to the future and say, okay, if that happens, what do we do?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be caught there and be like, oh, hey, we thought we had it budgeted because we were going to get this much money, and now we're not. So we really have to look further down the line, which I think they do. I think they do a good job of that. And property taxes are one of those things nobody likes to talk about taxes. They gotta pay them.
Oh, they do. They do.
But it's just one of those things. We just got to try to look at it the best we can and go from there. Like Mr. Boone was talking about how much it costs to pave a road. I don't know how many people even know that.
Right.
And I was like, wow, to hear that number is like astronomical, when you don't think about it.
It is.
And it's just great that they've been able to do such a good job getting, roads done.
Yeah.
And Coda did a good job with the city of getting city paved roads, and it was pretty efficient. Didn't cut down a lot of traffic and that kind of thing. They did a good job of getting that worked around for people in those areas. So, like I said, I don't think there's anything I don't have anything bad to say about anybody that's currently in there. I think they're doing a great job.
Yeah, and that's the truth. That's what I like to see is all, because we've got a lot of people running, this time, and it's good to see all the people come out.
Yes.
To want to make a difference, and it's just like I like everybody.
Yeah,
which makes it so hard to
narrow it down.
Because we've got such a good city government, and the people who are running, no matter whether it's sheriff or magistrate or whatever they're running for, we've got good people, and which makes it hard. But that's the good thing that you want. You want good people to come out to want to make that difference and to want to change, no matter where, if the landscape changes. If it doesn't, we know we've got people here that want to help.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. About how people from previous administrations. I think that's always been the case. If somebody new steps in, I think they're always saying, hey, I've been there. I've been where you are. Here's where I did.
Right.
Or here's where we can help you. You know, I went in when I initially ran and talked to Judge Curlin. I'm like, I'm really nervous.
Yeah.
Like, because I really don't know anything about this. And he said, I didn't know anything about this job either.
Yeah.
He said, it's kind of one of those jobs that you get on the job training.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You know, that's something that I'm so tickled to see with our magistrates and who's, you know, people who are running against one another. They're happy to help one another. Say if an opponent's running against this opponent who's been in office for a long time, they're happy to
oh, yeah.
to say, this is what you need to do, and, you know, this is what I had to deal with. And it's not like it's, you know, me versus you. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're willing to help,
Yeah.
which speaks for our county.
Yeah, I called Brent when I first started to run because I thought nobody wants to hear information secondhand. So I just
Right.
called him. I'm like, man, I think you do a great job. Please know this is nothing personal.
Right,
you know, this
right.
is just I feel led to serve my community.
Right.
That's all this is about. I
Right.
feel a little bit like Mr. Boone. I'm not running against nobody.
Right.
Just got my name in the ring, and I'm gonna hope for the best
Right.
and hope I can make an impact on my county if, you know, in my district, if they choose that I'd be who
Right.
they would represent
Right.
them. But yeah, everybody's always helpful. I don't know how many times I've reached out to Jeff and went, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And he's
Right.
always been willing to help. And you guys here with like getting my cards,
Right.
that kind of thing. Everybody's been really helpful. Sean at Service Plus.
Oh,
Man, did y'all
I'm
know?
a little biased towards Sean and
Yeah.
Laura, but I love them to death. Just
There's some
can't
good
speak
people.
highly. We'll be here all day. I'll
Right.
talk about them, but they're good people. So.
They are. I didn't know that they would actually fold letters.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Like, that's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Because I have a couple that needed folding, and I was like, y'all do that? And he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, I can get you something to do.
Yeah.
So that was really nice to have. I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, here and everywhere and anywhere I've ever been to in town or had a question.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I like about Princeton.
Yeah.
I don't want to, you know, people are like, have you always lived here? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Are you always want to live there? Yes.
Yeah.
I don't have any plans to go anywhere else.
You know, that's the way it is with me because of course, this is where I met my wife, and of course, my daughter. She's getting ready to graduate this year, and
Oh my goodness.
it's I can't imagine living anywhere else. And Caldwell's just a good community, and I know a lot of people they dream bigger, and you know they move on to bigger communities, and you know that's for them. And,
Right.
and sometimes you have to do that with whatever you know
Yeah.
the field you go into after school or whatnot.
True.
But Caldwell's just it's a good community, and I am so tickled that you're running, that you have that want to run, and to see younger people want to come in and you know make a change, and it's like that with anybody. And which I said before, it makes it so hard when it comes to voting this time around because we've got such good people in office, and you hate to see anybody go.
Right.
Whatever the landscape may be, and it's they're just doing a good job. Everyone's doing a good job, and you want to keep it that way forever. And I think that's with whoever gets into office. I know things will change, but
Oh, sure.
things will probably still stay the same because this is Caldwell County, and that's we know what we like in Caldwell County.
Right, right. And we do it good. We do it well. I mean, you know, I remember going to high school and I still like to go to the opening football game.
Yeah,
You know, I don't know probably any of them kids that are playing.
Right.
Maybe a few. But it's just one of those things it's one of those things I always took pride in, and we taught that to our kids,
Yeah.
you know, we really want you to be, you know, enjoy where you're from and be proud of who we are.
Right.
You know, I think that's the same thing, you know, and like I said, I want to do this, and even if this doesn't work out, I'm sure there's something else down the road.
right,
But I want my kid to be proud of my community. I want my kid to look at it and think,
Right.
even if he chooses to move on,
right,
that whenever somebody asks with pride, where are you from? And he'll say, I'm from Caldwell.
right.
You know, and it warmed my heart to know that, you know, he grew up here and thought it was great. Because I grew up here and thought it was great.
Yeah.
My grandparents lived on South Jefferson. I rode all over town.
Yeah.
Went to Big Springs, to the pantry, to the newspaper office. You know, and of course she knew everywhere I'd been.
Right.
10 minutes before I got back. But I hope that would continue.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of how it goes.
Yeah.
That's what I really hope.
Well, Jennifer, it's been good talking to you this morning.
You too.
I won't keep you. I know you probably got a big day ahead of you. I think you planning a birthday. Is
I'm
that
planning
right?
a birthday party.
How
Yeah.
old?
He'll be 3 on Monday.
3. I miss
Yep.
those days.
They're wild.
They are. I do. I miss those days. Izzy will be 18 in September, and
Gosh,
start. I know it doesn't
seem
it
possible.
makes me feel old, but it's part of life.
It is.
But guys, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. And as always, these videos are always up on our Facebook page. And if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to leave Jennifer, leave them in the comment section down below. We'll tag Jennifer in this post. That way, anytime there's a notification, she'll get that notification as well, and she can answer those questions for you. And but we want to thank you for just spending just a little bit of part of your morning with us. And as always, you know you're watching this on Facebook. Always have your notifications clicked. That way, you know when we go live here on Facebook. If you subscribe to us on YouTube, you can always have a backlog of all of our videos. This will be uploaded there too as well, so you can go back and watch it on YouTube. And subscribe to us on YouTube. That way, anytime we go live on YouTube, you'll get a notification there as well. So guys, thank you for joining us this morning. Jennifer, thank you for being here with us.
Yeah,
and,
thank you for having me.
We invite anyone to come on and just, whether you're a business owner, community leader, whatever you may do in our community, come on. We'd like to talk with you, just have a chat, and that's all we do here is just a regular chat when we can, and we'd like to have you on. So guys, again, y'all have a blessed weekend. It's Friday, and hopefully it won't be cold this weekend. I hope not.
I think it's supposed to be a little cooler, but warm weather is coming. Spring is on the way.
Spring is on the way, and I'm looking forward to it. So guys, again, y'all have a blessed weekend, and we'll see you later.
Yeah.
Bye.